The Western draw application service industry has grown alongside the draw game itself. More hunters, more states, more complexity, and genuine demand for professional help managing it all. The consultants who do this well earn their fees. Some of them know things about specific units that don't exist in any published report. But the industry is also uneven, and the hunters who feel burned are usually the ones who didn't understand what they were buying before they wrote the check. So let's run the honest accounting. A good full-service consultant is doing several things at once. It helps to separate them. First, deadline management. The Western draw calendar is genuinely complicated. Wyoming closes non-resident elk in early February, Utah in late April, Colorado into early April, Idaho in December, Nevada mid-May. Managing that across 4 or 5 states without missing a window is real administrative work. For a busy hunter, this alone can justify the fee. Second, application filing. Filling out applications correctly across 5 or more states with different portals, different rules, and different group application mechanics takes attention. Errors cost money. Sometimes they cost point years. Third, and this is where the best ones separate themselves, unit scouting knowledge. A consultant who has spent years running clients through specific units, talking to outfitters, building relationships with biologists. That person knows things the data doesn't show. Which drainages are overrun, which hunt codes produce what class of animal, where access has quietly changed. That knowledge is worth paying for if it's real and current. Fourth, draw odds analysis and strategy calls. Most consultants review your points, discuss your goals, and recommend a unit strategy. The quality varies. A tailored recommendation from current data is valuable. A generic recommendation made at scale is less so. Fifth, multi-year portfolio management. The best long-term relationships adjust strategy as your points change, as draw floors move, as your timeline evolves. That ongoing value is real for hunters who engage with it. The consultant model isn't right for every hunter, but it's clearly right for some, the first-timer entering multiple states at once. 5 different systems, 5 different deadlines, 5 sets of terminology. Getting it all right in year 1 without costly mistakes is genuinely difficult. A consultant who prevents first-year errors pays for themselves during the setup phase. The time, poor hunter, a surgeon, a business owner, a traveling executive, someone whose time has high opportunity cost elsewhere. If your time is worth more than the service fee, and you trust the consultant's judgment, the math works. The once-in-a-lifetime species hunter, desert bighorn, mountain goat, bull moose, where a strategic error could mean a decade-long setback. A consultant with deep knowledge of that specific state and species provides insurance that's hard to replicate through self-research. A fair accounting requires naming the gaps, the commoditized data layer. A significant portion of what consultants deliver in the draw odds and strategy portion of their service is built on the same public data every hunter can access. State agency post-draw reports, regulation booklets, draw history publications. When a consultant's recommendation is primarily a summary of publicly available draw odds, the value add is convenience and presentation, not proprietary insight. Incentive alignment. A consultant working with hundreds of clients cannot tailor every application to every client's specific situation at the same depth. Unit recommendations that work for a large book of business tend to be the well-known, well-understood units, the ones they can recommend confidently at scale. Knowledge shelf life. A consultant's unit knowledge is only as current as their most recent field work. The informational moat they once held exclusively has narrowed. Mapping platforms, draw databases, and guide networks now surface information that used to require years of personal fieldwork to acquire. Back in Percival's day, if you wanted to know which drainage was producing color, you had two choices: hire the old-timer who'd worked the region for 20 years, or spend 2 seasons doing your own prospecting and lose half of them to rookie mistakes. The old-timer's knowledge was irreplaceable. His fee was fair. There was no other way to get what he knew. That calculation has changed some. The assay reports are public now. The claim maps are posted. The production records go back 10 years, and anyone with a library card can read them. The old-timer still knows things the reports don't: which drainages flood in spring, which outcroppings looked promising but went dead at depth, which claims are held by men who'll sell, and which ones aren't going anywhere. That knowledge is still worth paying for. But if what you need is the assay report, the draw floor, the odds at your point level, the production history for your target unit, that's not the old-timer's special knowledge anymore. That's the public record. The question worth asking before you hire the crew is whether you need the whole operation, or whether you just need the assay. Between full-service consultant and pure DIY, there's a middle ground most hunters haven't mapped out. At the premium end, full-service data platforms aggregate draw odds across a dozen western states, layer in historical trends, harvest stats, trophy ratings, GPS mapping, and unit profiles. Impressive tools, well suited to the hunter doing broad, multi-state research across a full season. But a meaningful portion of Western hunters aren't managing a 12-state portfolio. They know their state, they know the species, they know their residency and their point total. What they need is a clean, accurate read on what those points are worth in this year's draw. That specific answer doesn't require an annual subscription. It requires point-specific draw odds data formatted, so it's actually usable. That's the problem the Tag Prospector's reports solve. You tell Percival the state, the species, your residency, and your points. The report comes back built around your exact position in the draw. No subscription, no platform to learn. $9.99 for the specific answer to the specific question you actually have. Here's how the decision breaks down. Hire a consultant if you need deadline management, unit scouting knowledge, or an ongoing multi-year relationship, and the fee fits your budget relative to the value you'll use. Subscribe to a premium platform if you're doing broad, multi-state research and will genuinely use the full tool set. Get a targeted draw odds report if you know your state and species and need point-specific odds without a subscription. In any case, know your draw odds at your specific point level before you make any application decision. That number is the foundation everything else is built on. Without it, you're making consequential decisions based on feel rather than data. Start with the assay partner. The rest follows from there. Dig deep. Find your vein. TheTagProspector.com